Can y'all hear me now? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio now. Please. No? Still no audio? Check, check, check. All right. So let me get back on it. Peace, love, and light. Welcome back to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. This is your host, Brother Blue Pill, and you are now rocking with the best. Yes, indeed. Welcome back. We are waiting on our guest / co-host, Brother Ken Brisbon. And with no further ado, let me take advantage of this audio and open up the line and bring in our guest tonight. Peace.
Yo, what up? What up? Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's not as audible as I'm used to hearing you.
Okay, hold on. One sec. What about
Yeah,
now?
that's yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's more like it. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, bro?
It's on you. You could turn your camera on, If you don't, it's on you as well. But I was
I'm
just
the
with
dark.
Red.
I'm the Dark Knight, man.
The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So we got these audios correct.
Cool.
Thumbs up. You sound clear. They're
Bad.
telling me that they can hear me. Shit, we in the building.
We in the building,
Yeah, man. Welcome back.
man. Glad to be back. Glad to be
Episode
back.
17. We 17.
17. Yeah, man. Moving right along, right?
Yeah, we 17 deep. You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty cool.
So I gotta go into my monologue.
Shoot, do your thing, bro.
Um, had an amazing event this past weekend. Shout out to the good brother Raku. Shout out to the good brother Zeus. Shout out to the good people over at Tassili's Raw Reality in the west end of Atlanta. Shout out to the amazing people of Atlanta and beyond, because people flew in and they pulled up. Some people drove from Alabama. A young lady, she flew in. I forgot where she said she flew from, but she came through as well. And it was, it was wall to wall. It was well attended, and
Mhm.
it was dope. We got into some very thorough information. It felt like Notalez Radio all over again.
Mhm.
So just being in that sentiment later on that night when I went to the crib, started looking at some old Bobby, right?
Mhm.
This was Bobby from '01, December 22nd, 2001. And he just so happened to have been in Atlanta. And it kind of reminded me of a few things. It reminded me why we do what we do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it reminded me of the spark. It reminded me that post 9/11, earlier on, these were the only places in this country where you could get this information at that time.
Mhm.
And I was reminded of, because I often speak about my 10-year window dealing with 2019. And '09 is when I kind of stepped out and did my first lecture and figured that I was going to be more in front of the camera as opposed to being a kingmaker behind the scene and moving and manipulating things. But whilst looking at Bobby and him talking about 9/11, I was reminded, that's when I took the blue pill. Like that's when, or the proverbial red pill, if they consider it, saying if you take the red pill and you're woke or what have you, whatever that pill was, it really happened for me on the morning of 9/11.
Mhm.
And September 10th, 2001, I was in a courtroom in New Jersey, and I pulled a maneuver that was taught to me by Elder Moore, and it caused a disruption. It caused a capsizing in the courtroom because the judge just started unraveling. He was like throwing books at me for me to stop, and spelt my name out as opposed to just stating it for the record. And that caused a major schism in the matrix,
mm,
because here I am, damn near 20 years later, just based on my own observation, I know who I am, and I know, who I am to the larger narrative in terms of in this universe.
mhm,
And I went live in their paperwork.
mm,
That fucked a lot of things up for them. You know what I'm saying? And the CEOs jumped on me. Like he ordered me because he couldn't stop me from talking.
mhm,
So he ordered them to drag me in the back and throw me in a cage. Right? I was kidnapped, for lack of a better term, but I had prepared for this event and I did my spiritual work. So I had not only killed a few chickens, and I didn't only have some brown paper bags with, lawyers' names written on the shit next to some psalms, but I also had a chicken foot wrapped inside of some red satin. So when they tried to put me in the cage and they had me empty out my pockets and put my contents in the tray, when they put my shit through the X-ray, the white shirt captain came and said, "Look, man, get the fuck out of here and take that shit with you, okay?"
mm.
So when I left the courtroom, the judge was heaped over and they was patting him on his back. It's almost like he had a heart attack because he was just like red in the face and hyperventilating. And they was telling him it was gonna be all right, but I knew it wasn't, you know. And when I left out of there, they took me back to the Morris class, and that was really the first time that I was embraced by that community, because prior to me coming into the community, they were a lot of federal informants that had came into that community because they wanted to know who was teaching this information. Because right before I got there, the federal probe was started by um some individuals that used to go to that class. They was like, they was from the neighborhood or what have you, from Harlem, and they started discharging debt and learning how to create commercial instruments, and they was buying private jets, beamers, boats, and stuff like that. And that was cool, but one of them got stopped and they had a trunk full of coke in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And that brought down federal scrutiny on the class. So they had everybody at an arm's distance. So it wasn't until I kind of cut my teeth and proved myself and cut the head off of a dragon that I kind of got the acceptance of my peer group, and we were dialoguing real deep that night and cracking codes. I had pieces of the puzzle and they had pieces, and we started sharing, and we was like, yo, we dropping bombs. And it's like, there got to be a bomb somewhere dropping on the other side of the planet. Can't be breaking atoms like this and there's no repercussions on the planet, on the physical plane. Then I went home that night, and before I went to sleep, this was like 2 in the morning, I started reading chapters in a David Icke book that I was reading at the time,
mm,
and it was called The Biggest Secret. Either it was The Truth Shall Set Him Free or it was The Biggest Secret. Either way, David Icke, and I have to give him his credit, right? I would be remiss if I don't give him his credit, because he said a lot of other crazy, he said some crazy things, and I kind of got it. And I kind of felt like, after reading a book like Behold a Pale Horse, that was very heavy on what we now know could be considered, and I say it very loosely, the facts, if you will. The stuff that David Icke was writing, it was kind of, you really had to have your imagination goggles on. You feel me? Because he was going there. But what he
mm,
did say in one of these books is that they were gonna attack the World Trade Center again. And he said this time they was gonna blame it on a man named Osama bin Laden. He said it in a book that I read September 10th, 2001. So he had a whole big chapter on Colombia and the importance that the deity or the entity Colombia plays when it comes to the esoteric, aspects of this country. and why there's the District of Columbia, you know, Columbus, and all of this, right? So he said, make sure that you pay attention to who is the first channel or station that announces, what happens when the towers get hit. And sure enough, what I'm saying, it was about 20 minutes into me waking up and looking at the TV. CBS was the first ones to make that announcement about Bin Laden. And I was like, damn. I'm like, David Icke called this shit. So my mind was already kind of like terraformed to be skeptical of what the TV was showing me. And I had my own experiences to know to be very skeptical of this country as it stood. I knew about the aspects of it being a corporation. And I also knew that they had birth certificates in the World Trade Center. And I knew that none of them birth certificates were going to be found after the World Trade Center came down. So, needless to say, the next time I went to court, it had 10 DAs in there, men in black, you know, and I had to wear a flag pin on my suit this time because it was a very hostile environment.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I was just reminded in this lecture where Bobby was going through and he was explaining to people about the long game involved and the fact that this really didn't have anything to do as much with any Arab as much as it had to do with Islamicide, Africanized, melanated people. In particular, he was saying they would use the Moors as the gateway or the throughway to get to more like the black nationalists or the Pan African, being that Moors have feet in both worlds by way of Islam and their connection with black nationalism. So it was very interesting, to watch this DVD and see like five, six predictions that the elder was giving out, all the whilst off of his whiskey, right? And corn liquor. He was mixing dark with white, saying this is what the spirits want. And when you utilize it, he said that he had a throbbing toothache, and he went off the dark and the white, and they came to him in his sleep and repaired his mouth. And who am I to say that he was lying? You dig what I'm saying? So these are the legends that had a very unorthodox approach to teaching that will really make you raise a brow if you're trapped in the world of literalism. And they got a lot of stones thrown at them, and they got met with a lot of doubt, and people, scream BS and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like you said last week, a lot of them transitioned in ways that wasn't as pleasant, that's deserving to someone amongst us who's considered a prophet or a griot or a legend, you know. But there's an importance, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to deciphering and decoding and really being able to look at what's going on and observe it with a particular lens that kind of puts things into perspective the way that they're not doing in the news or on Black Twitter or anywhere else that people get their information. So kind of just gave me this reinvigoration, you know what I'm saying, to tell these stories and tell these narratives and continue to make these connections, you know what I mean? And I don't know, stepping back and looking like where the next Bobby is. You feel me? And I can't necessarily, and this is no disrespect to Panic, you know, I think that Panic, um, he he qualifies a certain aspect of what Bobby stood for in regards to the occult and the esoteric information. Bobby and Phil was still at the forefront of what they call black news. You know what I'm saying? They still was at the forefront of still telling a story of humanity, even if he was saying that the occult and the esoteric realms were telling you to detach yourself from it. He still was at the forefront speaking of our story, you know what I mean? And making those connections, whether they was historical connections, mythological connections, you know, but the prophecies, man, these dudes was really prophesizing and speaking on things that have definitely come to pass. So that's pretty much what my weekend,
Huh.
for the most part, entailed. And because um I'm still tied to this particular narrative about us, and yes, that's a very ambiguous term because again, it gives us an opportunity to look at this concept of us and scrutinize it from a position of being in the center of it. Where this the Dorian situation, the hurricane, it just, I saw some things that was just very upsetting, bro.
Like what?
Hmm?
Like what? What you mean?
The level of destruction,
Mm, mm,
you
mm.
know, the level of destruction, and once again, the inability of, like I said, it's cool to talk black, you know, it's in style even to be woke and conscious or approach blackness like it's a universal continuum. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that the universe or the galaxies or space is enveloped in blackness, and you would think that as we're told, as above, so below. But when you get here on Earth, blackness is something that's very marginalized and separated into its own pockets of interest. Um, I was listening to Jadena in his various different interviews, and he was talking about the biodiversity in Africa, and the fact that we're not monolithic. You know what I'm saying? We're not just one people. We're a conglomeration of a lot of different people with a lot of different tradition and a lot of different ways and mores and this, that, and the other. And like I said, even when we look at here in this country, this is a very regionally segregated country by blackness. Um, Niggas in Detroit is not jacking what niggas in Philly's doing. Niggas in Philly's not jacking what the fuck is going on in Houston. Niggas in Houston is not necessarily jacking what niggas in New York is doing. And niggas in New York, right? Nigga, if you not I'm so Brooklyn, they don't give a fuck what's going on in no other boroughs. You dig what I'm saying? So this aspect of a unified front or the unity or, you know, blackness that spans the diaspora, you know what I'm saying? It always fails to show itself in any level of action, right? Niggas congregate around the TV, they congregate around the NBA, the NFL, entertainment, the nigga net, and things of this nature. This is where you can find blackness coalescing and congregating. But relief efforts, you know, rebuttals to political propaganda, the shit that Trump says out of his mouth and things of that nature, you know, anything that could be looked at as saying, well, goddamn, at a time when the people who are voiceless might need a voice spoken up for them, especially if they're being attacked by someone in this country that's looked at as the figurehead of this country, because niggas got hella mouth, right? But none of it ever seems, to be directed or reach the right. I mean, maybe they should have got John Legend's wife to say something because she got balls for this nigga. But you know, I,
I,
I
hmm. I was gonna add on to that when you were saying about Blackness doesn't trump class though. So it doesn't matter if you are affluent in Tampa, Florida, and affluent in Oakland. It kind of looks the same. The housing situation kind of looks the same. The schooling situation kind of looks the same.
It
It's
does.
it,
There's a collective interest at the top.
totally.
It
And
looks the same, and they kind of vibe with the same shit.
yeah, yeah. But class still exists in with so-called black too. But you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Rich niggas in Tampa and rich niggas. It doesn't matter if it's few of them or not. They still kind of share the same lifestyle. And people at the bottom share the same lifestyle as well. Even though they're look brown, but it's still class at play. So there's poor habits, and how the person in Tampa doesn't have to know the cat in Detroit or the cat in Oakland. They still share a commonality of being poor in America, which is a mentality, right? It's more a mentality thing than a resource thing. It's more of a behavior thing than a resource thing. It's a thinking. It's a way of going about something. And I like to listen to the dude from Steve Harvey show, nephew Tommy. He does these pranks, right? And I study the pranks because all black people that he does the pranks on act the same. It doesn't matter where he calls, their trigger is the same. The way they respond and how long it takes to push them to the point where they go crazy. It happens in less than a minute.
What kind of pranks are you talking about?
So he'll do a prank. Okay, I was listening to one this morning. He
You
called.
know, my my
What,
my dude be picking me up, and he listens to Rude Jude and stuff. So,
now nephew Tommy from Steve Harvey's a funny dude. He's a comedian, but
okay.
so he calls black people on shit that they're gonna, there's gonna have you're gonna have a trigger.
Oh,
So
he's triggering. Okay.
oh, totally. So this morning I'm listening to one. So he calls and the dude is named Melvin, right? So he calls as who? The child support people. So he's telling Melvin that a glitch happens it happened in the system, and that his child support is not going to stop when the kid turns 18. The child
Oh.
support is going to stop when the kid turns 21. When I say the dude Melvin went pure fucking crazy, his chick in the background too, they going in, right? He
Yeah.
hangs up that phone. There's another video, a guy named Charlie. Charlie has kind of the same reaction to Melvin for that particular prank. What I'm saying is to say,
Son is like the way that my bank account is set up.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, like my shit is not strategized for 20 for the ages.
yeah. So he look, I know the amount too, bro. He pays $630 every week, every 2 weeks.
God damn.
I know the amount because I study the prank because of the behavior that comes from the prank. I'm like, damn, I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm like, yo, even though it's 45 million so-called black people, they kind of act the same. So like it was the app. I got to see a physical version of the app all in unison at the same time. How these people don't know each other, but they act the same. Their reaction is the same, right? They're never trying to problem solve about what this person is calling their phone about. He immediately can get under their skin, right? Their investigation of the problem is interesting. Now, I don't know, but I wonder if he was to call, say, people in a different tax bracket. Not saying that they wouldn't behave the same way, but how long would it take for them to get there? Would they use their words differently? Right? Would they use uh different strategy on how to get to the end, or would they just snap? How long would it take? Okay. Now, my point to that I'm making with that is if if a group of people acts a certain type of way when it comes to problem solving, and they aren't easily ticked off, they got thick skin, and they put thought into the things that they do or say. If I would expect that group of people to have uh, a more responsibility to the crisis events. I don't kind of expect people to have the uncle is sleeping over your house. He's laying on your couch. The after you pay your bills, you got 150, $200 left maybe. I don't really expect those people to take in people from the hurricane, bro. Right? I'm with you. So it sounds good, but in context, in theory, like it just sounds good. And then a lot of niggas is just repeating group think ideals. They don't really feel that way though. It just sounds good because there ain't nothing else cracking. There's not really that many alternatives in that produces um perks in America. You know what I'm saying? At least the black app, it's dysfunctional, but if you play it, it still produces perks in America. Now, a more enlightened group of blacks in America that would have relief efforts, I mean, or more like a conscious group of people that would have relief effort, there's not really no perks in behaving like that though. You know what I'm saying? It's not no perks. There's no dopamine. You know what I mean? So yeah, bro. I don't. I seen the destruction in the Caribbean. That thing looked crazy, but I don't expect Black Americans to fit the bill at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how that will work. You know what I'm saying? Everybody put a tax like, yo, niggas barely taking care of themselves, feel just on a personal level. You know what I mean? In terms of diabetes, dental plans,
Right.
health insurance, like, yo, niggas is barely taking care of themselves. And life happens. The people got to get to the point where they can take care of themselves on a mental level, spiritual level, physically. Like, are you good? Because ain't no why would Don? It's a crazy thing. I had compassion for those people, but then I looked around my shit and said, yo, am I willing to take a family in? And for real, no.
Right. I don't think that's the conversation. You know what I mean? And for what they're going through and what that island looks like at this particular time, I don't even know if, like people sending shit is not even gonna be the answer because those people have to evacuate that island. The island is inhabitable. You know what I'm saying? And the relief efforts, they're going and they're showing stuff with, just like with Puerto Rico. They're like, all this stuff is at the airport. The shit is not where we're gonna move it to. Like the island is going through collecting the bodies, right? So the island is gonna be disease infested. So it's not like, oh, the people can inhabit there and still recover while they're there. No, you have to evacuate those people to other islands. You know what I mean? And some of those people are gonna um end up in these states. However that plays out. Um, just like I said, just being something that's at the forefront of people's consciousness now, whether people are able to do something about it or not. Niggas was not able to do something, you know what I'm saying, about Notre Dame. Niggas is not able to do something about the shit that goes on in Paris, but motherfuckers will change their IG handles and put the prayer hands up and bring attention to it, right? Put it at the forefront of somebody's consciousness. Here in New York, they have something called the West Indian Day Parade for Labor Day, right? And Bahamas is a strong contingency of that parade, as is every other island in the Caribbean. These niggas was jumping up like they do every year, regardless of what's going on in the Caribbean with their people. They're going to come out there and party and bullshit like it's no tomorrow, celebrating freedom and independence when these very places that they come from are almost proving themselves when it comes disaster time to be shitholes, like the president say, because the residents of those islands are saying, look, our people failed us. They're not saying, when they say our people, that's not the ambiguous term to talk about melanin and diaspora. They're saying, no, the politicians ain't make it out here yet. No rescue missions made it out here yet. They told me the same shit when it happened in St. John's. with the Virgin Islands, which is a few miles off of St. Thomas. You got to take a ferry over there. They said, look, nobody came over here for 6 days. And when they did come, they sent the military. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
these are just issues with these places that are under melanin rule, right? Because all of this to me, because I'm putting things together and I'm contextualizing the larger context of the story. I'm looking at the 1619 project, right? I'm looking at this alleged Jubilee year. I'm like, okay, so what is the universe saying? Like, where's blackness at? You know what I'm saying? I'm just gauging the condition of overall blackness in this part of the universe, this quadrant of the galaxy. And I'm just like, the people who should care don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And they're not graduates of the higher courses of esotericism to be totally divorced from humanity. They just don't care. And these are the people that are from there. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. So
Mm. Mm.
I'm just making these general observations. Like I said, when I look at the larger picture of us throughout the diaspora, and when I say us, melanated people, people who allegedly came here by way of captivity, and now they're generations removed and what have you, they are the recipients of paradise, some of them. The colonizer left them in paradise after he took all the sugar cane money and shit like that, but they still got resources, and these governments are in place allegedly in positions of power. But when catastrophe strikes, it shows that a lot of these governments are just as corrupt as colonial powers. They're raping the resources. They're not spending or allocating the funds or spending the money. You know what I mean? They're not sending no relief. And mind you, a lot of these bastions of civilization in these countries are heavily Christianized countries or enclaves. You know what I'm saying? And the government comes under that same level of Christianity. It's a farce, of course, but I'm just like, I'm just looking at these things. So Angola, Congo, Brazil, Bahamas, South Africa, Haiti, Mozambique, and that's just the shit that I know about that are going through stress and turmoil right now,
Uh-huh.
right now. And all of these places that I mentioned are where the heaviest concentration of melanin is at on the planet, and they all going through it. You feel me?
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, in the spirit of
It been like that for a minute too.
being like that, in the spirit of these metaphysicians, in the spirit of what it is that I do, I put things together. I don't compartmentalize, but I kind of like start stitching shit together to be like, all right, what's the bigger, broader picture here? And then draw for some level of meaning. I think you was talking about it last week. We have to
Uh-huh.
assign meaning to shit. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Huh.
And I'm no different from that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that makes me good or bad. It's just an inclination that I have. My antennas is up. So if I notice patterns and that those patterns are telling a story, me personally, I'm inclined to follow that story. You know,
Huh.
so
Hmm. Okay. So you was just mentioning the meaning. So how you just put everything together, what does it mean to you?
what
You
does it
name
mean
them
to me?
countries. Yeah, you name them countries and you know what I'm saying, you reference blackness and all that. What it so like
It it
I
it
just
it,
said
it kind of means that I mean, if you would look at it, it would be like, the name of my lecture is that the universe is conspiring for your success. It would look like, from what I'm seeing, that the universe is conspiring, for not the extermination of blackness, but god damn it, it's just not in the best interest of blackness, for whatever reason. And that could still be an impetus to change. It could still be something that sparks a level of complacency in blackness to either ignite them to do something or to come together at
Mhm.
some point, or to say, shit, we ready for whatever the new thing is.
Hmm.
I know that there's just a level of change that's taking place right now that is very much what people said that the white man should be going through at this phase in time, right? This should be reflective of a nigga whose clock is running out. That's what this shit look like for black people. It look like niggas' clocks is running out. You understand? And I don't know if they transferred the curse by transferring the verse. You
Hmm.
feel me? You know how the Moors be like, white people is really black people, and black people is.
Hmm.
I don't know if they might have assumed the role that wasn't theirs, and the universe can't make the distinction. So that shit is just like, we just gonna rain fire and brimstone on whoever's fitting the bill. They like, we blind, nigga, we can't see color. But y'all said
Mhm.
it, I just watched the
Mhm.
video how they carpet bombed the island looking for ISIS in Iraq. The shit was crazy looking. But that's another thing. There's fire and brimstone literally falling out of the sky at an unprecedented amount that they not talking about, right?
Mhm.
Fireballs, right? And one of those are even suspected to have caused that fire in the boat in California that killed the 30 something people.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then I seen a boat capsized over near Baltimore, earlier in the news. But there's other, and then I seen footage, of course, of some fireballs streaking across, and they were saying that some of those fireballs might even be responsible for the Amazon. So I'm like, in this alleged Jubilee year, right? Because me, I like the religious connotations of shit. I'll follow that rabbit hole. I'm like, okay, Jubilee year, 400 years captivity coinciding with Genesis 15:13. Y'all niggas is the children of Israel. Okay. Noah and his children, nakedness, total eclipses, same thing. The indigenous people said, don't watch them total eclipses. That's like watching Noah naked. That's like watching your parents have sex. Millions of people viewed the shit. You know what I'm saying? Immediately after that, right? Biblical size hurricanes and fires from 2017 stretching all the way up to now, and also the unveiling of pedophilia and sex rings and all sorts of shit leading all the way up until you go from Weinstein to Epstein. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? You go from the total solar eclipse in August 2017 to the total solar eclipse on July 2nd. And that one, the shadow of that stretch, the everywhere that is stretched in South America, if you look at it online, everywhere that is stretched is where it's on fire at right now.
Mhm.
You know, so Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Dorian. There's just so many parallels that you could line this shit up. And I'm just like, to me, it's just an observation that I can't ignore because I'm seeing these patterns. You know what I mean? But I can't, and I'm not necessarily, I can't jump out, or I'm not gonna jump out right away and say what it is. I'm still observing. I'm still researching.
Uh-huh.
I'm still studying. But like I said, it does look like, you know, that you would imagine that melanated people is getting their ass kicked on the planet, and the shit looks like it's coming off planet too.
Hmm. Hmm. Could
I
it
mean,
be?
they got some heat waves in Europe, granted.
Mhm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But
A
they
lot
still
of
getting hurricanes in Europe,
okay,
and they
okay.
got some tornadoes in Middle America, but they not getting ravaged like these Caribbean countries. You know,
I'll juxtapose with you though. What about the Black Plague? How many Europeans died?
When was that?
That wasn't that long ago. We're talking in the hundreds. So in the last 500 years that happened.
Nah. I mean, yeah, that was 500 years ago.
Okay, no. I'm saying though. And what about World War I and World War II?
That was a lot of bodies.
A lot of bodies, right? What about Stalin's Russia?
We were speaking about that. A whole lot of bodies.
A whole lot of bodies. Okay. Um. So what I'm saying is, all around the world, every human being is getting the business, right? I think that because we live inside of the production, and what the production does is right now, like I feel super safe, bro. When I go outside, I feel safe. I can't speak for everybody else. I feel safe. I feel safe in my home. You know what I'm saying? Even if that might not be the case, I feel safe
I
with
feel
that, right? So, and I'm noticing other people feel safe as well, right? Because we live inside of capitalism. We live inside of production. So I think when we see the real world occur and what the world is really like, it makes us, we think about superstition, we think about our behavior. It makes us reflect because we live inside of the production. But if we lived inside of the real world, it would be so common that I think we will process it differently and say that this is just a struggle of life. I don't know if it's necessarily a melanated thing, a cracker thing, a Asian thing. When we look at the world as a whole, it's shit going down in India, it's shit going down in Germany, it's shit going down in New York. It's the best of times and the worst of times for people at the same time. Some people getting married, some people getting locked up, some people coming home, some people having babies, some people dying, some people pouring up drink. You know what I'm saying? It's the best of times and the worst of times. So I think it's because we have an emotional connection to this ideal of black, it kind of looks more than what it ain't though. You know what I'm saying? If black people are the most majority people on the planet, then that's the majority of the shit that is gonna happen to the majority because it's more of them. You know what I'm saying? Just if if the white people are the minority, I expect more shit to happen to black people because it's more of them. This is what people told me. That is black. It's more black people around the whole world. Okay, so if it's pain in the world, I expect black people to go through it. The only where it's uneven at is if niggas should have the most money. Then that's where it's uneven. But in the distribution of pain, everybody getting that shit, bro. Everybody getting that shit. And if people don't want the pain, then the best thing, you would opt out of this ideal of blackness. You would change it. It would pivot. You wouldn't even call yourself that because that should keep if that shit's getting all the work, all the upside down things that happen on the planet. If it's happened to this thing and this ideal called black, then I'm gonna opt out of black. That doesn't make no sense because I didn't say I was that anyway. People called me that when I was born, and I didn't have a choice. I never had a choice to say if I was black or not. It just was called on me. Oh yeah, that's what you are. But I thought I am whatever I say I am, right? So if I see this thing keep catching L's in 3D, then I'm gonna be like, you know what? I ain't black, I'm me. Niggas, I ain't black, I'm OJ. That's real shit though. Like when I really think about it, what exactly that means. Yeah, it does. It does. So I don't know, bro. To me personally, I just choose to would live outside of that where that kind of shit is going down because you got to make your own luck, right? And if that frequency over there, it looks very unlucky. It doesn't look like dope shit happens over there. And I'm not talking about how people look. I'm talking about the ideal and the frequency. To me, black is a frequency. It's a whole. It's its own elevator, and I just step off that motherfucker. So if something can happen bad, it happens to the person next to me and not me. It happens to them over there. You know what I'm saying? Because I would like to create my own luck, and I don't really think that that application of the
I mean,
ideal of melanin black. I don't see the luck. Oh, just let me finish this point. what you told me about the courtroom situation, to me, you weren't using blackness. You were using information,
Oh, I damn sure wasn't. I was
right?
using counter blackness. I was telling them I wasn't black. Get me up out of that shit.
Mm, mm, mhm,
Because there was already a predetermined outcome for that status and that identity. And I mean, people could be emotional as well, as much as they want about the shit. But I'm telling you what I experienced. This was damn near 20 years ago.
mhm,
So yeah, it's a real difference. It's a real deal. These are legitimate motherfucking claims. You know what I mean? That have real ramifications in the real world.
mhm.
But we live in a very weird place because there's a mix between the matrix and the real world. And the real world is seldom seen. You know what I'm saying? That shit is hidden behind a veneer. It's very thin, but it's hidden behind a veneer. It's almost like I remember the first time I went to LA and I was amazed at something that I was looking at downtown and they was like, "Yo, that's a prop." And I went behind the actual thing that I was looking at. It was a building, and the shit was propped up by wood panels. It was the exterior of the building was just a visage. It was a prop. It wasn't a real building.
Hmm,
This shit had motherfucking sticks and poles holding up behind it, like how you go to a western. They might show you the western and all of that.
mhm.
It was the same shit. And that's
Production.
how that's our concepts of reality. It's the matrix. It's held
Mhm,
together by some illusionary shit based on consent. But
so,
reality and
mhm,
this thing that we call life is held together by some shit that we call consent as well, because it's holographic.
mhm. I got a question for you. So, all right. So if I'm stepping outside the matrix and I'm stepping into the real world, now when I look at the people that went through that during Hurricane Doreen, if I'm in the real world, then do I look at them as black? Like, damn, that shit fucked up, my brothers and sisters. Or do I look at them and say, damn, on some human shit, that shit is fucked up? Because both of those are different.
Um, you asking me what do you do, or
No, no, no,
I
no,
don't
no, no.
understand.
Because no, no. In the real world, I was drawing the distinction between in the Matrix. Because to me, in the Matrix, I would look at them and be like, "Oh, that's my brothers. I need to help them." In the real world, where life happens, I would look at them as on some human shit. Like, "Oh, wow, this man went through some shit. He just lost his wife, not his black wife, his wife, his children, right? I strip him up. I see him. So see, if I look at him as a human, it don't matter if he's a Christian or if he's Muslim. He's melanated, right? So I look at him as a human. But if I look at him as black, it could be mad politics involved.
Look, I'll speak for myself. The human in me looks at the human condition first. My allegiance, right? The fact that I tap in and out of the black app, right? And I'm engaging with the people is telling me in one ear. So I'm utilizing that eye to look at this shit to say, okay, y'all telling me about this black shit, and you're telling me about this vainglorious year of blackness. And I'm like, them black people over there, but y'all niggas is over here partying or looking at the NFL and talking about Jay-Z, but ain't nobody concerned with them over there. So are they not black enough? Because damn, they look black to me. Oh, they Christian.
Gotcha. Hmm.
Oh, but damn, like Sunday just passed. I didn't, motherfuckers didn't change their marquee outside of their church talking about we collecting cans and clothes for our Christian brothers in the Bahamas. So I'm like, how far does this black shit stretch? Only from island to island or neighborhood to neighborhood, a household to household? Because it doesn't seem to be something that's enveloping or binding or a power or a force unless it's time to cancel somebody on Black Twitter. So as a observer, um, who has a open heart chakra. Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I case in point, I came into the crib last week, right? My mother's away, so no one has been in the crib, right? So I had to come and I had sent some mail here, so I had to come and pick the mail up. I come in the crib, the shit bumping, right? Smell like it was a body in the crib. I'm like, what the fuck? And I have some practitioners out here that I go and see, and they always got bodies in the crib, right? Animals, not full scale humans and shit like that. So I know the smell, and I'm like, damn, this smell like a whole animal died in here. Like, what the fuck is going on? And it was the fish, right? The fish had died. You know what I mean? But the AC was off, so it was baking in here. You know what I mean? So I don't even know how many days they had died, but the shit smelled crazy enough because of the humidity and the heat. They was decomposing, right? So I had to get out of there. And I don't that smell has an energy on it. It's like, got an energy that goes along with it. It's a thickness. You could, like how they say, you could smell death in the air.
Mhm.
So I'm only like, I can only imagine what it's like to be on an island where there's thousands of dead bodies bloating in that sun and in that stagnant water, and everything else is going on in that water. So I'm just like, the human condition of disaster and the outfall and the outbreaks to come with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking at that level of devastation, and I'm just like, yo, I wouldn't want to be through that. I wouldn't want that for myself. You know what I mean? And I can only imagine what these people is going through. So that's where that comes from.
Mhm. That's a them pictures are an eyesore. Nature, um, it mm, it's funny because we plan our life and we don't take into account oftentimes catastrophe, right? So we say, I want to be doing this in 5 years, I want to be doing this tomorrow. We don't take into account catastrophe, and it's catastrophe that pretty much is changes humanity. It's nature, it's catastrophe. So so for the last, like, I give you an example of nature. For the last like 7, 8 days, my allergies been on point. I didn't get allergies till I was 30. Like, it just came all of a sudden. I just started digging in my eye, and man, I wanted to take a damn butcher knife and poke my eye out. Right,
Yeah.
it was going crazy, but I didn't know why though, because I've never been a sickly person. So this happened when I was 30, and so I just was having them now. I skipped 2 years and they just came, and I just felt the feeling. My eyes start leaking. Man, it just. I mean, when I say I'm I Floyd Mayweather jabbed my eye, like it just starts going crazy. But anyway,
Damn, like that.
oh yeah, my allergies go crazy. I just got them though. When I was
You
grown.
just got him, right?
Yeah, it's weird though, right?
I'm
My
meeting
body
mad
just.
people that's getting allergies like now.
Yeah. So I had them real bad, but peep though. So I couldn't see what was affecting me. I couldn't see it. I couldn't even smell it. It just I was just reacting to it. And it was something that was happening in nature that was making me have a physical reaction, right? And it's catastrophe or it's nature. So okay, so just imagine a cataclysmic event that will cause people's allergies to go off. But this time, in this way, is global and it's intensified, right? The survivors, they would be different. They would look different too because they've been digging in their damn eye hard as hell. So
Right.
just imagine it lasts 10 years, right? That's catastrophe, calamity, because yo, unleash those people from the Bahamas in America now. What do you think that looks like? I'm not even on a negative shit, but in terms of drive. Do you think they'll be the same as everybody else in terms of ambition?
They're gonna have a different drive. They're
Oh,
gonna be
oh
it's
man,
gonna be hitting for something different. Yeah.
they're a total different human being because of nature. They are not like us. They're not in terms of the spark. They they survived it, so that automatically gives them a human upgrade. It's kind of like those that survived the diaspora. Look at
Right.
niggas' bodies. Look at the after effect of when you survive that thing. But the diaspora was different because that wasn't necessarily nature. That was man on man creating Frankenstein. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's there is a, silver lining in it. In it right now, it looks bad, but in the long run, it's fucked up. What I'm about to say. In the long run, the generation that comes from the survivors, will be the greatest generation that they've ever had. That's what it's like.
Um, let's look at that. You know what I'm saying? Because when did the earthquake in Haiti happen?
That was damn. That was 2010, 2011.
2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Um they say that the area of Abaco Island, they had a concentration of Haitians at probably the southernmost tip of it, numbering in about, they said about 6,000, right? And it's, and pretty much they was living in shanty towns. So those people had got displaced by the earthquake in Haiti and relocated to the Bahamas, and they still haven't fully gotten on their feet. You
Mhm.
know, um, I don't know anything about the offspring. You know, I haven't kept any records or heard any historical accounts about the offspring that was born after the earthquake. But we know that, our Haitian family is, those are some very resilient, strong people. You know what I mean? Um, I can look at what you're saying and apply it to the Japanese and see that to be factual. They rebounded in a way in which, people should take a more of a protracted look and see, well, goddamn, they really bounced back, post 1945. That was a civilization that was composed mostly after the aftermath of children. A. Rashid talks about in his lecture, the comic book series Akira, you know, that kind of speaks about that civilization where those children had to raise themselves and they had to go into the crevices of their imagination to really get it. And look at their civilization now. Look what look was born out of that. You know,
Mhm. Um, See, and now I didn't. The thing about that is, you can't predict time frame. Okay, so look at the diaspora, right? Look at the diaspora. So say directly after 1865, say the gene is now starting to wake up, and now you have, all right, some horse owners or donkey owners, and then directly after that, they done scaled that to more animals, and then more generations come and they scale it to farmland, to property, to, and then it just goes up from there. So I think you have to give the gene time, because what catastrophe does is produce genius. It just takes a second because it has to go into a cocoon stage. You know what I'm saying? Somebody has
yeah,
to breed it, but it
yeah.
comes though.
Did Katrina produce genius? Do you know of any level of? I mean, I could say that we watched the gene transform itself on already existing inhabitants of Katrina. So if those people are symbiotically attached to that landmass, you
There's a
know,
I'm
what we
I'm
saw Little Wayne and them go through, you know what I'm saying, in terms of their transformation.
I'll give you another example. There's a chick, her name is Super Scent. She from New Orleans, right?
Yeah,
I don't know
facts,
this
super
girl
percent.
personally, right?
Yeah,
But she got popping on Facebook. She did her videos and stuff like that. Now, see,
yeah.
look. So this what I mean by and it's only because we know this story. But she posted some things a while back on what her business was doing. When they do their sales, bro, there was a time where she made $200,000 in one day.
No, she did $1 million in 90 minutes, bro.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's
yeah,
let's
look,
let's give
yeah,
her
okay,
her
cool.
her
Okay,
well
cool. Yeah,
deserved
yeah,
props.
yeah.
Yeah,
So okay, so that's a Katrina survivor.
yeah. Her hustle totally different, based on the circumstances.
Totally. You know what I'm saying? So I think when we look at we it's kind of like what's that movie with Samuel L. Jackson and he breaks Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
You okay? So he was looking for that superhero, right? So he would check people that got injured in um in bad accidents to see uh who healed from it or who survived it, right? So of course the most people don't, but you're looking for that one that the case seems a little fishy. That's what happens with this catastrophe and with this genius. You know what I'm saying? If you can't look at the whole, you got to look at the sprinkles. It might be a little chess champion running around, a mathematician, something that is there's a glitch in the matrix. For that girl to make $1 million legally in 90 minutes, that puts an end to all the drug talk that comes out of there because now you have somebody that does it on a e-commerce side. You see the jump?
Mm-hmm.
It puts to bed the street shit like this is all we can do. That's not true. You don't got to do $1 million in a day. You could do 1,000 though. You could do 800. You could do 700, and it don't got to be slinging rocks neither. So those are Katrina survivors. You know what I'm saying? Uh, uh, um, so when you look at those people, it's an eyesore. It's an eyesore. But the people that's gonna come from it is gonna be some real ambitious, innovative people because that kind of event, that traumatizing event created by nature, that's how evolution works. I think it's nature. Something happens in nature and changes us, and it does something. You know what I'm saying? I think it can devolve people and evolve people.
Oh yes, yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
totally agree.
I think um, Black America is what we know it has peaked though. I think the genius has peaked. I think the I think the acceleration went through the roof and it has peaked and it's on its way down in terms of the genius. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it was a lot of it at a particular time. The cup
Mm-hmm.
was overflowing with genius. So it peaked and now it's going down. And now those people that identified as black, they have to become something else if they want more. Because the black app has maxed out.
Right.
There's no grace and favor in it.
I remember having a conversation with one of our resident scientists, a brother named Lester Lovin. This was around 2000, and he told me that melanin comes with, you know the saying, he who wears the crown, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So he was like, melanin comes with a contract. Like there's a lot galactically that falls on the shoulder of someone who is outfitted in melanin because of your processing ability for light. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you're gonna make the it's just a heavy planet to have heavy melanin and not convert that information into any action or activity. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
think about, all of the melanin that has just been underutilized, or light cold lockdown by way of religion, and just it's a lot, shit's just been taken for granted, you know what I'm saying?
mm.
In terms of you got the conduit to the magic, but you never got to the magic, you know what I'm saying? and the universe is going to, it's going to move you aside.
Mhm.
It's going to move you aside. You're not signaling that, you know, that you're worthy, you know,
Hmm.
of this particular level of blessing.
Hmm. Okay. So, so if someone is listening to right now, so what is the things that you think they could do tomorrow to, if so, okay, so someone that takes the observation you have, Blue, and they look around and they see Hurricane Doreen and they see where they live. So they live in a lower income area, and it's not right over there. They're not feeling it. They're not feeling their background. They want to do some different things, but but they live in a black app though. Um, but they would like to activate their melon or activate, going back to the grace and favor. You know what I'm saying? What is something that they can do to kind of, bad things are gonna happen to everybody, but what are some things that you think they could do to sidestep that and kind of neutralize the bad luck gene? I'll put it like that. Neutralize the bad luck gene. What are some things someone could do tomorrow morning when they wake up in the morning? You think?
No, no more haram. What this shit Tina Turner was getting using to get Ike off her ass? No more haram.
Like that? Basically, he just said, "Man, kill yourself." That's the only way out. Is kill yourself. Too funny. Too funny. Yeah, I mean, is that bad? Damn. That was, you know, she got punched in the eye and went to that.
Punched in the eye, and her blackness was not working for her at some point.
Right.
She got her ass beat.
Right.
She had to go Eastern on that nigga. Like, I'm going
Right.
Eastern on you.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
you know, saved her life though,
it saved her life. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
gave her
Totally.
a career after her because she got it popping after that.
Totally. Totally. I mean, she's still alive right now, my nigga.
Still alive.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
nigga
Married.
dead.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Ike dead. You know what I'm
That nigga
saying? So,
dead. His
so
legacy is finito.
trash. So imagine if What's Love Got to Do with It played when Me Too was at its height. People look at that movie in a whole new lens. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there got to be something that a person could do to be like, yo, let me neutralize this shit because I see it happening everywhere. Everybody with dark skin, it don't seem like they're lucky. And if a person feels like that, then they notice it and it's gonna eat at them. So there got to be something that they could do to maneuver and pivot and make the next move their best move. You know what I mean? Excuse me,
Like, yeah.
Alex.
Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, try different medicine. So like allergies, right? So there's different. You got Claritin, you got Allegra. Then you can get some prescription. There's more natural things. It depends on whatever ways a person wants to go. Okay, so what are the tools on the table that have been used to basically trying to neutralize the bad luck that comes from the app? Really, none, for real. Not even astrology, not nothing, because all of that is still part of the app. It's still part of this ideal of blackness, right? It hasn't necessarily been full fledged anarchy to it. You know what I'm saying? The best way to neutralize it is to say I'm not that. Once you say I'm not that, now you got a clean slate because it's a concept. So if you can see blackness as a concept, then it makes it way more easy to move maneuver because now you can see it. You're able to compartmentalize it. You're able to package it, put it in a box in a bowl, and push yourself from it. It's so easy. And in now, what you leave in that box is the dysfunction. What you leave in the box is the narrative that other people are smarter than you. What you leave in that box is this ideal. When you come outside, there's people trying to kill you, and there's people hunting you, and it's people just waking up in the morning just thinking about how to make your life a living hell. What you leave in that box is the history, and now you can start the mystery. You know, the mystery is way more important than the history, right? What you leave in that box is culture, and now you could create your culture and your image after your likeness, after what you like, what things work for you. So you leave a lot in that box. You get a fresh start, right? So basically it's just different medicine. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the Doreen shit, like self-preservation of first law of nature. Yeah, I don't like how it looks. I got compassion. That's a shame for them people. But then now I gotta worry about me because I don't want my house looking like that. So how can I set my shit up that if we have a hurricane and knock it, I would rather it not knock no one shit down. But if they didn't do the work, and if some shit's gonna get knocked down, it's other people because I did the right thing in my household to make sure we withstand that. That has, so, but to me, the best way is I'm not that. Opt out, immediate, to like total separation. Like opt out and to see it as a concept and not an emotional thing, not this identity thing. To see it as a concept. So when I hear someone say my people or we, I immediately identify with the people I'm friends with. I don't identify with every single person. It's a concept. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same way as the liberal arts. You got rhetoric, you got logic, you got astronomy, you got geometry. These are ways of thinking. That's all it is a way of thinking. Masculine and feminine. We really think that masculinity and feminine is a hormone. It's like the male produces masculinity and the female produces femininity. They're just concepts. They're just ways to think, different tools that can be used to process information, right? So same thing with the black app. It's just a concept. Oh, soon as you went to court, blue, I am black. Cool, boom. Soon as I say it, soon as I make the declaration, I
Handcuffs.
yeah,
You're going to jail, bro.
yeah. And it's not personal.
It's
Again,
not personal,
it's
man.
just a concept. So like blue, like outside of the ACL tear, I got an ACL tear. I've had some sports injuries. Like random crazy things that happen to people, they don't happen to me. Like nothing happens to me unless I press the issue. Randomness never happens to me. I've never been in a car accident. Never. You know what I'm saying? I board planes knowing it's gonna land,
Facts.
right? If I'm standing in a place and someone is comes through shooting, I'm not about to get hit.
Facts.
I'm not getting hit, bro.
I take the same approach.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like when a cop pulls behind me, I expect him to drive on. I don't have a frame of reference of me getting gunned down by police. That's never gonna happen to me. Never. You know how people say never? No, that's never gonna happen to me. I'm not getting killed by the police. That's not how I'm going out. You know what I mean? I've made a personal commitment to myself that what? I want to outlive everybody I know, right? I believe I can handle all of the loss that it comes with. You know what I mean? Of my friends and people that I met that I think is dope. But I'm willing. I want to push myself to see if I could outlive everybody. You know what I mean? To what's that look like? Coming from where I come from, I touch 110, 115. That's a personal goal now. I'm only thinking like that because I'm outside of the app, so I'm thinking about the possibilities of myself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm taking my hedonism and applying it to more other things. So it's not just the dark side. There's another side of hedonism too. You know what I'm saying? So I apply the hedonism into my own personal development. But that comes from opting out of that ideal. So that's to answer your question, bro. That's the first thing. That's the only way that I know is to say I'm not that. That's that part. I'm not that. It's a total divorce from that ideal. Just to give yourself a shot and give yourself a chance. I don't really know any other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Right. I feel you.
Um, yeah. I mean, because I look. Let's just look at Donald Trump. His I pay attention to him, and he's never flustered. You know what I'm saying? He never feels like he's even when he's wrong, he believes what he's saying. Bro,
Totally.
you know what I mean? Even when he contradicts himself, bro, it's not a thing. And when someone brings it up, he just he is so flawed. It's so much things wrong with him. Like especially when you comparing him to Obama, right? They look different, they feel different, the words is different. It doesn't matter though. You know what I'm saying? Because Donald Trump practices the art of positive thinking. This is a person that negotiates and makes deals. You know,
Can you know, because my audience might not know, you know, you say that might be the furthest thing that they would associate with him. Can you explain when you say that he practices the art of positive thinking? What is that and where does it come from?
okay, well, I was listening to Brother Winch, so I gotta give it, I gotta give props because I didn't even know this. And then I did my I did my research.
As did I. Yes.
Minister Jew was killing Brother Rich line one time, and what I mean, he just was coming with mad, just he killed it. But he said that Donald Trump came up under a guy named Norman Vincent Peale, and Norman Vincent Peale was the author of The Art of Positive Thinking. And I was like, okay, cool. So that was a classic episode by Minister Jew. So I did my due diligence from there,
Fact.
right? And I look at Trump. I tracked his career, the documentary on Netflix, The American Dream. If you just pay attention, it's in him to always think like a winner. I'm not talking about personality. And once you get out the app, you get out of excuse me, you get out of the mind frame of liking and disliking. It's not about that. I look at things where I can adopt and you know what I'm saying, make part of my personality. But he's never losing. He's always winning. He sees himself as a winner. He feels entitled to a high status lifestyle, and it could be delusion. It could be anything. But this the thing. This the thing. Look, at this point, bro, I'm trans rich.
You what?
I'm trans rich and trans balling.
You gotta explain that.
Just like trans feel like they're a different gender.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm a billionaire.
Because I was about to say that they saying
Yeah,
he's delusional, but we in a society where you telling me if a man puts a wig on, he's a woman, and I have to refer to him as such. So therefore, you know,
I'm rich.
this is your president. This is your president for this day and age. You deserve this nigga,
I'm
right? Because as delusional as he is, you can't convince him otherwise. He refuses to hear anything that you niggas got to say negative about him.
right,
You know what I mean? I just want to see what his mornings look like in the mirror. Like he must really love himself.
right,
I ain't seen him stutter yet.
right.
And what I mean by stuttering is he has not in public yet expressed that he's buying y'all story of him versus his story of himself.
Right.
That's some amazing you know, level of mental concentration to really convince yourself what you need to move through the world. You know what I mean? But like I said, to me, on the same note, it's the same thing that you're telling me about the trans community in the way that you are championing them. But like, how different is he if he's the one that you say is delusional, right?
Mm. So if there's a male that identifies as a woman and he moves on that and wants you to address him as such, different pronouns. Okay, cool. So on the inside of me, I feel like a yacht owner. I feel like, you know what, a private jet rider. I feel like a person that has
That's right.
homes in other continents. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I could learn three languages in the next 7 years. I feel I'm trans everything. I'm trans potential. Cause if because what I want, it's my job to look at the environment and adapt to it and figure out how to wiggle. Okay. It's I can't get disgruntled from anything. So I look at the trans people and I take something from them. I'm like, wow, if it's like that, that's the art of positive thinking. That's the you're practicing the power of belief right there. It doesn't matter what I say. It matters what you say. You know what I'm saying? If you think you a woman, you a woman. Who the fuck? Who am I? who am I? It matters what you think. You know what I'm saying? And if you got the salesmanship to to get me in your jurisdiction, then I'm gonna think like that. I'm not gonna think like that because that's not my jurisdiction. But if they feel like that, yo, then that's what it is. So what I'm saying is I'm a billionaire and can't nobody tell me nothing.
Right. And it goes back to the same thing that we're talking about that I had to do in that court. I had to assume that. You know what I'm saying? I had to become that. And I had to convince myself first and foremost that I was that. You know what I mean? And that being a human, living, breathing entity. And one in particular that coincided with my paperwork. My paperwork was saying that I'm the Christ. I'm the one. Like, how can you prosecute me?
Hmm.
And I had to have that mindset and I had to be in that space, you know, and I didn't need to convince them. They needed to convince me otherwise.
Hmm.
And it wasn't gonna happen. You feel me?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, like what we're talking about at the end of the day is, what is your undeterred conviction? What can you be what are you so convinced about yourself that no one can deter you from that? Is there anything that you are totally convinced about yourself that you can't be unconvinced about? Right? That's your superpower, whatever that thing is. You feel me?
Huh. Okay. So just real quick, what's his name? I was listening to Rizza Islam, right? And he was on Corey Holcomb show 5150. So
Okay.
him and Zoe Williams. If y'all never really checked out Zoe Williams, check out Zoe Williams. Dude,
Yeah,
go
shout
in.
out to Zoe Williams.
Yeah, he's dope. So I was listening to Rizza Islam.
Super.
Now the thing that made Rizza Islam effective, he is great communication style. The way he uses words, he's good, too good, because when he sells the the black uh app, when he sells it, it sounds too good and it gets a person to buy in when he says the black man is not safe, he's unprotected, people want to kill him, he's been oppressed before. Like he sells that
Oh yeah,
story.
he sells it. He's very
He
convincing.
sells it. Now, just like a person that is a trans person or Donald Trump or Muhammad Ali saying I'm the greatest
Or
or
just like somebody in the chat said, Cassidy. You're not gonna convince Cassidy he lost that battle. Like,
who the
yeah,
goods.
yes,
With the battle. Oh, okay, right,
can't
right.
tell Cassidy he's not the nicest battle rapper
You
ever.
can't.
Like,
You can't.
his
So
conviction is unreal.
look. So for guys that identify as black males, look at the software that's put out there for us to download about ourselves. If I really believe that, you know what, the world is conspiring against me. You know what I'm saying? Rizza Islam said, yo, it's hard to find a job. Now let's just say the person telling Rizza they can't find a job only put in 2 applications.
Mm-hmm.
When does it qualify a person to really be like, you know what? It's hard to find a job. Yo, I live in D. It's listen to this number, Blue. Damn, 7.2 million job openings in America as of today. This is via Fox Business. I'm watching this morning. 7.2, my dude.
Can you believe everything that you hear on Fox
So,
Business?
the
That's a
things
lot of
about
that's a lot of availability. Did they have a list of what sectors those availabilities was in?
now, look, what I did is I applied as above, so below. One of the things that I do when I'm out and about in DC, I'll be like, damn, it's a lot of job hirings. And I don't, I'm an entrepreneur, so I get to see it. So, but I live in the city, so it's mad job openings, dog. Now, when I went to when I drove cross country to Arizona, one thing I was seeing when I was riding through Texas was the availability for CDL drivers, people on the oil refineries. Now the reason why that seven is super believable because it's mad people missing from society, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Look up in Oregon. Look at the homeless rate in Oregon. Look at Skid Row. If we have over 200 people in the prison system, there go 2 million people in the prison system. There go 2 million people right there. It's 2 million people right there, right in prison. So when I say 7.2 million job openings, that's not all you have to do is do the eye test. If you you can't tell if you live in Mississippi. I'm not gauging it, but I'm talking about San Francisco. I'm talking about LA. I'm talking about Chicago. I'm talking about New York City, Boston, Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? I get to move around. It's people that's now in terms of career things that's gonna make you 250. That's a different type of value for the marketplace. But Investopedia.com, a lot of my financial apps are echoing the same thing. In terms of you, if you want some money in your pocket, you can have some money in your pocket. But just the thing, if you don't think like that, if you really think it's hard to find a job, well then I will have to ask you, what kind of value do you provide to the marketplace? It's about value. What do you know how to do? Whose problems do you solve? You know what I'm saying? Um, but you don't see the world in opportunity because of the app. So if I was to take on what Reza Islam is saying, and he's a fire ass speaker, I'm only talking about that part right there. If I was to identify with that, there's no
Mm-hmm.
way that I can actually leverage that into anything. I can't use it, right? But someone like Donald Trump, who feels like they're entitled to winning, that means they're gonna aim high at everything they do. They're gonna be overachieving. Now, the Black Americans have the ability to be overachievers. It's just the belief system of the people, what they think about themselves, and they will fight you to keep those belief systems intact. When
Mm-hmm.
Kanye West said, "You know what, slavery is a choice," that was a great moment for people to be like, "You know what? What does that mean exactly?" Context is important. And this is an emotional person talking. He doesn't read books.
Right.
So he's not going to say it as the way that uh, Cornell West might phrase that
The
if he
way
was
that
to
the
say
way that Rizza Islam gonna say it,
it. It's totally right. So, but
he's
what is
gonna
it?
blurt it. It's gonna almost come across like your crazy cousin that might be on to something. Like, wait, what you mean by that though?
What does it mean?
And it was a strong possibility. The man was saying he was on meds and he was off his meds. So is this something mental? But just be like, yo, can you further elaborate on that?
There. Look what he's doing right now with his service, bro. This is a very creative dude.
Very.
Maybe too creative. Maybe too creative. Creative to a fault, right? But his creativity comes from him seeing himself as something different. You know, when he's spazzing on stage, yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's levels of you probably feel like he could be more mature. But the ideals that he has about himself is not common from what we come from. People don't really think that highly of themselves. That's an issue right there, you know? And I've heard mad lectures, bro, from the conscious community. And it's real interesting that people have stayed away from topics like enthusiasm, positive thinking, friend making, team building. You know, the debates are about things that you can't even use. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily you finding out that that Islam is not an African religion. That doesn't necessarily make you better. You can't use it.
Right. You're just disarming a whole bunch of other people to fit into the bullpen. Like, get a bullpen crowded already. You sending more people over here? What, they gonna sit on my lap? Come on now. So I mean, yeah,
mm. So so
there's
so.
there's again there's elements to this shit, and I was reminded, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm,
Even the lumping of the conscious community into into
hmm,
one thing, you know, that's not that's not even a accurate assessment. But it happens, and I understand, and I can see how it happens. But yeah, there at some points, you know, like I said, my thing, I came into consciousness. Like I said, I was reminded it was post 9/11,
hmm,
and there was really no breaks for enthusiasm training, how to make friends and shit. Like, we
hmm,
were in a war, and we're still in a state of war. It's a little bit more, they don't remind you of this shit every single day. They tell you about, you just recently heard about them sitting down with the Taliban, and you might have forgot that this country is at war, engaged against terror. You know what I mean? But the conscious community at that time, for the most part, was making their case that that war was strictly on us. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where a lot of the teaching emanated from, that point, from that, I'm saying, from that emanation point. And there was never really a signal that a corner had been turned, you know what I mean, to get into other things. It was always prepare for the worst. You feel
huh,
me?
uh-huh.
And I can't say it was wrongfully or rightfully so. It was dealing with what the writing on the wall at the time was saying. You know what I mean? And yeah, and Bobby was divorced from, let's take Bob. Bobby was divorced from humanity. He was just divorced from the experience.
Huh.
You know what I mean? So this is where you was getting it from. Delbert was on something else. Phil was on something else.
Right. Yeah. It was very nuanced too. Nuanced. Super nuanced.
Yes.
Super nuanced.
So it wasn't preparation for job hiring. It wasn't inclusiveness in society. It was very sectioned off. It was off grid information. It was, what I mean? It was get out of the matrix. Don't go in it and destroy it from the inside. That wasn't even
uh-huh,
the jargon at the time. That wasn't the training.
uh-huh,
The Moors had me, without documentation for damn near 10 years, fifteen
uh-huh,
years.
uh-huh, 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 uh-huh,
I had to use Bobby's technique of visualizing Anubis on my roof to drive. Like, I ain't had no license. I used Jedi mind tricks to get on planes, bro. You feel me? I had no ID. at some points,
Mm.
and the shit works. So
Mm.
we definitely were taught how to utilize the mind and the powers of
Right,
the mind.
right.
You know what I mean? How to, you know, think outside the box and get to the point where the box don't even exist. You know,
Well, that's impossible though. Like when you get out the box, you just land on a bigger box, right? Because everything is squares and circles.
everything squares and circles.
So you're going to be in a box whether you like it or not.
Yeah, you're gonna be in the matrix. You're gonna be in a box.
Yeah,
And just
it's
like
just
in the matrix, you transfer one matrix for another matrix. You
yeah,
renegotiate your contracts. It bumps you up. You know what I'm saying? But you in a tesseract. You're not even in a box. We are in a box within a box within a box within a box
within a box, right?
within a box. You know?
So with that being said, then all these things is just nothing. It's, it's the Truman Show, and you know, let me tell you what success to me is, bro. When I'm walking through the airport and I get stopped by a person that I never met before, and it's all love, and they telling me about their life, and it's something that I helped them with, and they did it right. They went to the next level, whatever that looked like in their life. They went to the next level. They passed the test. If it was relationships, that looks good in their life. They're making more money. They're doing things that they was afraid to do before, prior to listening to me, and then they went and did it. To me, that's success, right?
I met
Because
a young man came to my lecture on Sunday, and the brother does app development for corporate America, you know, for bigwigs. And he said he got into app development by listening to us and us hedging him on as a youngster to get into that sector of, of development. And he went and did it and it landed him in this position. You know what I mean? Like
to me,
that's
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 success.
that's success. That's
That's
like
success.
you took the information and really did something with it and transformed it into something very powerful. Now look at you. You're playing a key position. You feel me? So yeah.
So that's success because I'm gonna be in the matrix no matter what. I don't have to be in the app to be in the matrix. Now, you have to be inside of a app. You just do, right? It's like Wreck It Ralph. Like, yo, what are you doing else? Like, just imagine a software program looking for you, boo, and it finds you outside of the app. Like, yo, what are you doing outside of the app? Find the app and hop in it, right? Um, once you get out of the black app, you still got the American app. You're an American. You like ice coming out of your refrigerator. You know what I mean? You like having a filter on your faucet. You know what I mean? You got a water softener when you shower for your skin. You got marble floors and shit. American. There's that app, right? You got your gender app, right? You're gonna be in an app, so it don't matter. But be in an app that is a vehicle for you to get where you need to go. Okay? Because you can app hop. And when I'm saying app, it's ways of thinking. All right. So me personally, I rode the black app as long as I could. There was nowhere to go else, and I did all the stuff that comes with the app. So so looking back on that app participation, you know, that app is an upside down app. It's for self destructive. It's for self destruction. It's a chip in you that you're gonna self destruct. So being in another app now, it's like I said, I'm trans rich. So I see myself as a successful man, not just by the things that I acquire. It's based on people that I may have an effect on. Not everybody though. I don't want to talk to everybody, but mostly the success is the things that I can do with myself. my ability to lock in and get disciplined and focus on things, my ability to change my reality when I want to. That's success to me. I have control over my space. I don't have control over the Federal Reserve. I don't have control over the dollar. I don't have control over the stock market. I don't got control of none of that. I don't. And that's just the game. It's the way it is. But one thing I do have control over is where I put my focus in and what I put my attention on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a different app, and the app is how far can you push yourself? How much? What's the most money you can make in a year? What kind of friends can you find out in this world? You know what I'm saying? How many places to go is it? You know that part. You know what I'm saying? Because everything else is extra to me, my dude. For me personally, I kind of I, I crossed off a lot of shit in my list. You know what I mean? So for others, I think they should app hop, and I know they know it, and they feel it deep down inside. They just need a confirmation. They just need the app hop. I know they've rode this wave as long as they can ride this wave for, and they want to go somewhere else. And they probably been looking for that nudge on how to get to the next level and what that looks like. Um, shit, you know, Blue. It's uncertain. It's a little, it's murky, right? But now you start dealing with the mystery instead of the history.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that app. You know what I mean? You know, bro. You do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You go to Mount Shasta, shit like that. You gotta understand people don't do that
They
on a
don't.
regular Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday out the week. And this is the thing. Listen to what I'm about to say, boo. Donald Trump doesn't feel like he's blessed to be in his position. He feels like he worked hard. Now, let me tell you the difference between a black man when he has things. He feels like he's blessed. He doesn't feel entitled to have his shit. He doesn't feel like that's what he's supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
He feels like he has it because he's blessed, right? So when you on Mount Shasta, that's where you supposed to be. Where else are you supposed to be? You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with bless. And we use that terminology because you know what our religious background, and it's thank God for everything we get. But that what that does is it diminishes the focus that you had. Now, yes, there is luck at play, and that's grace and favor. But to say, man, I'm blessed, is to say I'm surprised because
Mm-hmm.
because the Arab man, I know they say it's a lie and all that, but still they feel like they entitled, bro. It's the divine right of kings,
Right.
and you have to have that mentality. We're in the West. We're in the West, and in the West, the magic hit different. The language hit different, and fortune favors the bold in the West.
Facts.
You know. Hey, Blue, what app are you in right now?
What app am I in right now?
Yeah, what would you call this app that you're
Freedom.
in?
Freedom.
What do you mean by that? What that look like?
It's just it's an open sky. You know what I'm saying? There's no limits. I don't see nothing but open sky when I look up. When I look around, I don't see nothing but open land. You know what I mean? It's
Huh,
limitless.
huh,
I don't have any known adversaries. You feel me? And the only limits are the ones that I put on myself
huh,
or the ones that I acquiesce to because, life is a game of chess. So there's always somebody across from you moving pieces.
uh-huh.
You know what I mean? But you know, based on how you move is how you move.
Mm-hmm.
And the pawns get a bad rap at the chess game.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. How about that? Hmm. Well, um, some months back, not yeah, I think so. Some months back, we had told y'all about the art of magnetism, all that. You know what I'm saying?
You said the what?
The art of the positive magnetism. You remember?
Yes.
Okay. I think it would be wise for people to 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 crank that up. You know what I mean? Especially right now. You know what I'm saying? With talk of recessions and talk
Oh,
of tariffs.
that was an amazing read. You know, you got the link for that still?
Man, I'll tell you what it is, and let me see. I
An
keep forgetting the author.
amazing, liberating. That's a liberating read. You know what I'm
That was
saying?
intricate, huh?
It'll bump you up to the freedom app.
The art and science of personal magnetism.
Yes.
I think people can use that right now. You know, um, and really take advantage of the ideal. Do without wilt. Do without wilt doesn't always mean going into dark places. It can mean that, but it doesn't have. It's not limited to that. Do without wilt means running your race too, and it means you can focus on yourself. It means you can do the work on yourself to, you know, try to get some different results. Because I think we can all agree that it's some unfavorability going around. It's a spirit of lack and losing going around, and
Mhm.
people are not having it their way. I think we all can agree that we want to have it our way a little bit more, right? And this is where you start, but you got to do the first thing and say, I'm not
I
that.
mean, yeah, like everything in front of me is just strategy, and the opportunities are endless, and it's all based on my personal execution. I can
Mm,
sit lotus stance all day and meditate on this shit, and some of it might come together with the power of my mind, but it's going to take me executing strategically, you
mm,
know, and following through. And this inner and outer world that I'm co-creating is gonna come to full fruition. And I would suggest the same for anybody else that's on the other end of this, on the other end of my voice. Like, you can plan, plot, and strategize, you know, but it's like I developed this discipline in the gym, right? And the dumbbell is called dumb for a reason, because
mm,
it only know yes and no. You know what I'm saying? It don't care about
mhm,
what you're going through with your BM. It don't care
mm,
about how big your joint is. It don't
mm,
care what you think about yourself. It don't care. None of it. It's dumb.
mm,
It's
mm,
lead. It only knows yes or no. Can you get me up?
mm,
Can you do this last set, which is the most important set? This
mm,
really gonna motherfucking make a difference? That's all it needs to know. Can you or can't you? That's all it needs to know. It's dumb. It don't want to hear nothing else. So when I learned the relationship between what was taking place in the gym, and myself, then I learned that there's no, you can't, I walk away. We working out together and I go to the bathroom and I come back and I'm like, you good, son? You got that in? And you telling me yes and you didn't? Like, who are
mm,
you lying to? You can't lie to yourself in the gym because the developments
mm,
are gonna show, they're gonna tell. You can't
mhm,
put on for me because it's not about me.
mhm,
I'm there to help you get to the better version of yourself.
mm,
Ultimately, it's not doing anything for me other than maybe inspiring me to do the same for myself. But you got to put that work in. You got to lift that weight up, right? You got to get that last set out. That's on you, or that last rep. And then the
mm.
developments will ultimately show. You get to reap the rewards as well. And it's the same thing with any and everything else in life. these big magnanimous plans that we got coming up that we're gonna talk about and invite people into some of these opportunities, you got to be about your business. You're gonna have to execute. You're gonna have to put it down. You're gonna have to magnetize and materialize this manifestation into the material realm of reality. It's on you. At the end of the day, we can be there to help coach you and you know, you know what I'm saying, give you all of the motivation to go forward and push forward and even give you some logistics based on the fact that I was here, just like you could do in the gym. I was at that weight before. I was at that strength level before. This is what I did to break past my threshold, though. You got it in you.
Hmm.
Do you have it in you? And you're not really gonna know that answer until you underneath that weight, because the weight is dumb. You the smart nigga, right? The weight is
Hmm.
dumb.
Hmm. Hmm.
The weight only need to know yes or no. There's no in between with the weight. It's dumbbells.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's the same thing somebody said with what we eat and self care. Like, I ain't babysitting nobody. Don't see me in the motherfucking documentary and think that you could DM me all of these crazy, because niggas is already starting with all the crazy ass questions. Like, Google that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Don't all of a sudden, because you miraculously figured out these niggas got a relationship with Dr. Sabi or what have you, or you finally come to terms and understand who Mama Pill is and what she did. Like, next year is not gonna be about holding nobody's hands.
Hmm.
Like, you're gonna have to you know,
Do your
if you're
part.
gonna meet us on the track, you gotta already be jogging.
Right.
Ain't nobody walking up on the track, walking up on nobody that's doing laps. Like, tighten the sneakers up and let's do these laps together. You feel me?
Hmm.
Ain't nobody got no time to hold nobody's hand through this.
Hmm.
You gotta want it just as bad. And that's my mother's main issue, especially with this younger generation. Like, they do not want to put in the work. And because I'm a little bit older, I understand and I overstand that she comes from a different time. And for some reason, melanated people were a little bit more serious about whatever they were applying themselves to. And that includes getting high, right? They put a different emphasis on that shit. They got it done, nigga, because I know crackheads that still smoking. They smoke good too. After 30 years, they figured that shit out. They come from that generation where they apply themselves.
Well,
You
there's a
know,
reason for that, bro. When people be okay, if you check out the shade room, right, which is I use them as a reference often because they have a lot of eyeballs, okay, and they have a lot of eyeballs from quote unquote important people, and what I mean by that is entertainers, celebs follow the shade room, they comment, they engage on there, right? Um, if you look at the shade room, the content on there tells me, and the content is the majority black folks. The content on there tells me that people are safe. They're not in a time of war. Here's why I disagree when people be like, "Yo, we're at war." I'm like, people at war behave a little differently. Uh, it People are safe, bro. They're so safe that they can play with their gender. They're so safe that they can beef with a person on the phone and send messages like that. They're so safe that they can call the president names, right? We live in a time where again the real world has been stripped from people, so we live the production. So how are people or kids living the production going to have that ambition and sense of urgency? They give trophies now for showing up, and people are protected around political correctness. So that means you can't challenge people. So I'll give you a great example. Because I'm a so-called black man, and I say so-called, What that means is I'm not allowed to critique another so-called black man, right? So on a public platform or whatever, first I have to identify him as my people and my brother, right? I can't
Yeah.
just look at
No,
him
no,
as
no, no. You have to identify and qualify yourself first on these public platforms. Who are you? Where you from?
right,
What's your
right,
resume? What you did? Where you
right,
went? You went to HSBCU? How
right, right. But see, and this is the thing.
long you had
So,
your Twitter name? You
so,
belong to
so
any groups?
if I critique a wide receiver and I critique his football ability, not him per se, but if I'm like, you know what, I don't like him as a player, somebody be like, yeah, it's always another black man knocking another black. What you're doing is you're not allowing this player to get better because you're shielding him from critique. Because we're black or whatever this ideal we have, we're not allowed to challenge each other. So we do things and it goes unregulated, and that trickles down to the younger people because they have no challenge. The social justice warrioring has has created a space and an environment where there's no bullying, there's no yo mama jokes, everything you say is misogynistic, it's toxic masculinity, it's narcissism, and what that does is it creates a really docile human being,
Uh-huh.
you
I
know.
see them all the time.
um uh, uh, if a person decides to kill themselves because they're being bullied, that's not on the bully, that's on the person that killed themselves. Do you know why? Because it's not a person's job to make you feel good about yourself. That's your job and your tribe's job. So
Mm.
if a trans person kills themselves because someone was being mean to them, that's not the person being mean's job to adjust, because this world is mean. Nature is mean. It's not nice. It is what it is. It's my job to create an immune system to be built for tough to last. So that's why the younger people are moving the way they are, because they're civilized. They live in civilization, and civilization comes with a production. They live in a
Mm.
fantasy world.
It's a built-in app.
Totally.
Mm.
Do you know Generation Z, 40 to 50% of them basically classify as being like fluid in their sexuality?
Yes.
So this is people like 23 and under, 24 and under.
Mm-hmm.
They're very open. They're with the shit when it comes to sex.
I
They're
seen on
very
my
sensitive.
timeline.
They're sensitive. They're, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, all these niggas got, they all empaths.
because
They
they have
feel
the
the
space to
heartbeat
be
of the
though.
earth.
Yeah, they have the space to be. They have
Yeah.
their parents have created a world on credit. Yo, credit is up $23 billion, bro.
Mm.
The consumer reports right now, people are spending,
Yeah.
right? So if you have a product right now, yo, people are spending. They are not they
Yeah,
are
they
doing
said
a lot
they
of spending
running
right
up. I just seen an article that said they running up the debt.
now.
The debt is running up exponentially.
It's 23
Even
billion
with
dollars right
a
now.
recession being forecasted, there's no slowdown.
Hmm.
And
So I'm at
normally, they would think that the economics would gauge a tightening of the purse strings with the signaling of recession or oncoming recession. Normally, the behavior would mitigate that people draw back, but they like, oh, they run into it.
hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. So that that's partially why I say what just to mention about the youth, just not the youth, but the adults. Period. We this production that we live in, bro, has it's not very challenging. Uh, and it's cancel culture and all that. I seen there was a post on the Shade Room, and it was a big, not necessarily controversy, but it got a lot of attention because trans women felt like they needed to be included in BT's Black Girl Rock,
I
right?
saw that. Yeah.
And in the comment section, black women wasn't having it. They like, look, man, we tired of it, right? So they're feeling the pressure of the app, but they have to live with their decision because black women have rolled with that shit. You know what I'm saying? They're sucking up your whole swag. They're
Right.
draining you for the shit. And they're using it, right? But but again, the comment section, all that comes from safe, bro. That comes from a society that capitalism is working for these people because you're not tripping off any civil war. Yo, think about Burma, bro. Think about Syria and Lebanon. Think about these places. Do you really think you have time to you think you have time to talk about gender? You think you have time you think you have time to roast people? Do your mama jokes? You think you have time for that? You think you have
Negative.
time to do you think you have time to
It's
talk
on and
about
popping in them places.
it's on
Yeah.
and popping, bro? It's on and popping in the Congo. You know what I mean? It's on and popping in Haiti. It's on and popping in the favela,
On
right?
and
The
popping.
life is very cheap there. You know what I'm saying? The Houthi and Tutsi, bro, the shit that goes on in Liberia, the conflicts in African on Africa, same thing that goes on in yo, the poverty in China is incredible, my dude. It's incredible what Chinese people. I'm only talking about Chinese. I'm not talking about Taiwanese. I'm not talking about anyone else. I'm talking about the Chinese. The quality of life for the average Chinese person, the the Black American is rich. Even there's a dude that live in Queensbridge projects. He's rich
Compared to right.
compared to, right? Compared to, you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about uh, compared to a guy that has a Lamborghini. I'm talking about on what that dude in a project can actually do with his time. Huh. What you could do with what you do with your time for real. You know what I'm saying? You live in projects. You could go to Central Park. You could go ice skating. You could go on a boat for the day. You could do all that and still come back to the projects.
Play tennis in the park,
Play tennis. You know what I'm saying?
volleyball.
Sure. You know what I'm saying? There's an occasional fight. There's occasional shootout. But when you do the contrast to other countries, what am I saying? What I'm saying is the life that we live in America is so fucking gravy that no one wants it. Everybody wants to be comfortable. We all say, you know what, I want to give my children shit that I never had. We're not talking about knowledge. We're talking about things,
Things.
talking about
Tangible.
stuff,
Right.
tangible,
Stuff. Not
right?
knowledge.
Not knowledge.
Because
We don't
that
mean
damn
that.
sure didn't that transference damn sure didn't happen.
No, we don't mean that. And an adventure, we're not talking about that. And what that does is it civilizes us. Being civilized is a bad thing. This is how a man gets his belly. You get civilized. You eating to death. You that comfortable. You civilized. You know what I'm
Domesticated.
saying?
Yeah.
You domesticated. Your antennas are yo, bro. You think we would get out of shape if we really thought we was fighting a war?
Negative.
What war? When people say, yo, I want to liberate black people, how more liberated can you give? What are you talking about? In what way? These people are experiencing the desires that they want to experience. What's more free than that?
Mm.
Look at what they it what you really want to say is you would like to teach the people how to use their time more efficiently because they are free, and that's the problem. They're too free. There's never been a time in humanity after that we know where human beings were this free, bro. The right to free speech, you could just talk. You could talk so much that you could talk about public officials too, as long as you don't threaten them. But you could critique and challenge them. You can own them
on Twitter,
on
right?
Twitter.
Directly
Yo,
at them.
you can own a firearm. There's a right to free press. There's a right to free press. Freedom of Information Act. Is it perfect? No. But what I'm saying is this gives us an advantage, but a disadvantage because we fall into comfort because we think that this all how free we are with the lips. We can't go everywhere around the world and talk like that. There's a kill switch in China with their internet. There isn't no free press. You can't
Hmm.
just talk about public officials. You can't do that. You can't flex like that. You know what I'm saying? So what that does, bro, is it fractures us in terms of innovation. It fractures us in terms of having those Elon Musk plans. Elon Musk has a mind of a person that's not done yet, bro. He's not done. He's still reaching and still doing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So I think we're too free. I think we need a little challenge for real. Something in our face to make us pivot and to create a different urgency. Because that's what it is. The people are way too comfortable, my dude. There's nothing cracked. They're bored, bro. They're bored. Literally. Seriously.
Hmm.
Most people make Facebook posts because they're bored. They have nothing to do.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And 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 there's an aspect of humanity that kind of needs to be controlled because on their own they're not going to do anything uh but the base human shit. Fuck, eat, that's it.
Shit. Right.
Shit, you know what I mean? They need to be controlled. They need to be put on a mission. And without that, look at the people, bro. The people ain't on shit. We could talk about the government all day. It's the people. The people ain't on shit, bro. That's the 100. It's true.
Mm.
It is what it is. The people ain't on shit. They like complaining. They ain't on nothing though. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, I'm talking about the collective, but there is exceptional individuals. You know what I mean? But for the most part, the collective, man, people ain't on shit, bro. So I think it's that part. You have to increase the fire in the furnace to make people move, or else you got to kill democracy, my nigga. You got to kill this ideal of the middle class. Because if you kill it, then it'll create this. Because look at after civil rights, bro. What happened to so-called black people? How do people go from sticking together to not sticking together? Shit, give everybody some washer and dryers, nigga. Washer, dryer, microwave. That's all it took for black people to be fractured.
Oh no. Oh yeah, a refrigerator. In a ice box, but you still wasn't convinced that your ice was cold enough.
Right.
So we
That's all.
seen what happened. To me, it was the TV. You know what I mean? When I have my envisions of niggas going inside of a burning house and extinguishing that shit, they was doing it. They sat at the family table and watched a charred TV flickering. Like shit.
Mhm, mhm.
Somebody fix that antenna. I'm trying to see Dallas.
Uh-huh.
Dynasty and shit. Like that's what happened, man. Like this shit crazy. I
Yeah.
actually I did meet someone on Friday who was born in Tulsa and his father was there and his grandfather definitely, you know what I mean, was a merchant and he told me some amazing stuff, I'm gonna lay it out at some point. But pretty much, everything we said, everything that I've been saying about that those people were not slaves. They were not descendants of slaves or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? That story's being told backwards.
Hmm.
But that's another story for another time. It's 11:10. No, it's 1:10, should I say. We've
Rocking out.
been rocking it. It went quick as always, as it does. Um, yeah, it's an excellent time to say that I will be coming to DC with some exceptional individuals October 19th. The shifters return, and
I'm gonna see you then, bro.
yeah,
I'm gonna see
we
you then.
coming to DC.
Okay.
Initially we was coming to the church, but that got changed, so we'll be putting out the information about where we touching down in the district. But we come in and we come in with solutions. People are gonna be laying down what they have to offer, you know, individually and as a collective. We'll be talking about our 2020 vision. Um, I'll be in the UK the first week of October, you know.
Hmm.
Uh
Across the pond, huh?
yeah, we got a 3 or 4 dates. One of those dates will be with the Queen of the Congo. Um, yeah, some dope things taking place. This Saturday coming up, September 14th, which is Nasir Jones Born Day. Shout out to him. Will be at the Natural Mystic Fair. That's gonna be at Tassili's Raw Reality in the backyard. From like 12 to 7, from noon to 7. You know what I mean? Come out, meet all of your practitioners of all of the what they would call the new age arts, all of this Aquarian stuff, the millennials and Gen X, Gen Z, this is an open call for y'all. Come out, you know, and let's dialogue. I'm hosting that event. So I'll be in the building on the 22nd in Brooklyn at Nicholas. We're going to be doing a tribute to Dr. Delbert Blair. And then the 21st here in Atlanta, also, we're going to be doing the ninth annual Veggie Taste. So I'm putting on my apron. I'll be unveiling some new dishes. I got some treats in hand. Yeah. So
Mhm. Nice itinerary, bro.
yeah, and then we have a special announcement about our born day, November 14th. This one is gonna be epic. This is gonna be dope. All right, and in a day or two, we'll have all of the details ironed out. And if you follow us on the social networks, you'll hear about it. If you come back here to YouTube, you'll hear about it. But that's gonna be epic. And yeah, once that's established, I want you to participate in that as well. It's gonna be
Okay.
something in it for everyone. It's gonna be an amazing experience.
Sweet.
Yeah. So anything you got to leave us with? I know you got that website that you got people on a waiting list. That's how many people is running down to get involved with that. So
Oh man, it's dope. Just briefly, you want to check me out? Go to become a member. Excuse me, kenbillions.com, and I'm on my road to vertical integration. But I'm starting here, and it's a member. It's membership based. So I like to come out and just tell you what it is from the jump. So it's 24.99 a month. What do you get though? Just a part. Just soon as you become a member, you get my last four ebooks. Um, Another one is coming. Part two is called Dealings Over Feelings. You get my last two albums plus unreleased music uh, that I have in the stash and music coming down the pipeline. Now, the cool thing about the music coming down the pipeline is I'm only going to release it to those that are members.
it's
Even the
dope.
even the content that I have is only released to members. You know what I'm saying? So, I want to get it up to 1,000 videos. So I have things like the Art of Finesse. That's a series, a new series I'm starting. Game for guys, and then another one for women. It's purpose over purses, right? So that's just talking to ladies above the neck on ways they can win in the game. You know what I'm saying? Um, so it's just mad stuff. It's loads of content. So I over deliver. So I give up more than what you actually pay. You know what I mean? So
Dope.
it's a it's a interdependent relationship. You pay, I give up game. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying allows you to get more a better return than what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? So, and the dope thing is, I also offer a refer. I have a referral program where if you send my link out or you give it to somebody, you share it, and they purchase and they get the membership, you get 30% of that. So it's small, right? So it's 30% on 24.99 is like $9, right? But it's a reoccurring $9.
Yeah, yeah.
So 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 if you just your mom and them sign up and you get 100 people, that's $900 every month, as long as they keep their membership. So
Yeah, that's
and
that's
pass it.
dope.
You know what I mean? So just but my mind frame right now is to create equity for the user. Let me tell you what I mean by that briefly, not to be long with it, but creating equity for the user. Um, if I have an open YouTube page or open Instagram page or wherever I create, if I have a lot of subscribers on that platform, the user doesn't actually have equity for their time because it's open. I create for everybody. But something that's membership based, the user has equity because all my things are downloadable and you're part of a select group of people that's members to my content. Now I'm going to scale socially, right? So in 10 years, I'm going to be further than what I am right now. And I'm going to be a somebody, an important person. And this content that I created, it's worth something because I'm important and only a few people have it. So Jay Z's rich. He's stupid rich, and that's great. However, me sponsoring or investing in Jay Z, there's no return. Like uh, his albums that I have aren't worth anything because millions of people have it, right? So I bought in my lifetime. I bought Reasonable Doubt. They're dope, and he got money, but for me, it's not worth anything. You feel what I'm saying, Blue? It's not worth anything. For example, y'all collection of blog talks that has value. You know why? Because they're not anywhere else on the online.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? The Delbert Blairs, the exclusive Francis Cress Wilson interviews, the Phil Valentine interviews, the young polite. You know what I'm saying? The young Umar Johnson.
Very polite. Right.
You know what I mean? You got stuff back from 2010, 2011, 2012.
Baby Delbert. Wow.
AA Rashid. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that content is, especially as time goes by, and we lost a lot of people since then, right? So
Facts.
as
Oh
time goes
yeah.
by,
The Gregory
the
archives. Woo.
Gregory, yeah, man, that's Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, basketball cards. Look at those things as basketball cards. Or in the marketplace, how much art is that? That's a lot. These is files because it's not a lot of it, and you guys are the only ones with it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so go to kenbillions.com, get gamed up. Fair exchange ain't a robbery. You gotta put something down to put something up. You know what I mean? So yeah, kenbillions.com. I'm not promoting no social media site. Fuck with me there. Ken
Indeed.
Billions.
Cash App $ Blue Pillar 44 www.goldwater.com. That's GOLDE water.com. Goldwater.com. All right. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us tonight for this monumental presentation. And tell a friend to tell a friend, share it. You know what I mean? And we definitely will see you on the next run. You dig?
Holla.
Peace.
Peace. Boom, holla at you, bro.
Indeed, family.
All right, bro.
All right.
Peace.